thought this would be a good time to talk a little bit about that road work, a little bit about that steady state cardio, which is super important, which is completely valuable to you as a boxer, as an aspiring boxer, to really get that endurance base underneath you. So I'm a big proponent of the long, steady state modalities of getting that aerobic in. I know it's very popular right now. HIIT type of training, sprint, speed, power, which is all valuable, which all has its place in your training regimen. But what also has its place is that tried and true, long, steady state cardio, whether it be road work, the way that I get it in, or any way you get your heart rate elevated for a prolonged period of time. Okay, so physiologically, what's happening? With prolonged bouts of this type of training, your body will start to adapt in a very positive way. I think in the very short term, your blood volume increases. And this is an important factor to endurance because your red blood cell count and your overall blood volume will dictate how much oxygen and nutrition you can deliver to your muscles. So your body starts to adapt in a way where your red blood cell count increases, your blood volume increases, and this happens pretty quickly. Get as much as a fifth more blood in your whole body. I mean, a tremendous amount. So that blood volume is going to be a huge dictator in your ability to endure. Also, more in the long term, your heart gets a heck of a lot stronger and your stroke volume increases because of it. What is that? Well, that's the amount of blood you're pumping per pump of the heart. So less pumps will yield you more circulating blood because your heart will become much more efficient. It's a huge factor in endurance as well. That's why people's heart rates drop the better shape they get into, because their heart is becoming more efficient. In terms of delivery of that blood, well, you have your capillaries, which you can call like the in-between of your veins to your muscles. It's where the veins actually deliver the blood to the muscles. And this bed of capillaries becomes much more complex and innervated, allowing you to deliver a lot more of the blood, a lot more of the red blood cells, and take away a lot more of the byproduct, lactic buildup, things like that. So those factors all are going to contribute to you physiologically having better endurance, being able to handle more. That, I think, brings us to some of the intangibles, because when I first have some athletes partake in this, they always get confused. Why don't they get to some point where everything is a walk in the park, everything is a breeze? But you got to remember, that's not what this type of training is doing. The word is endurance, and the root is to endure. So really what you're doing is you're increasing your capacity for hard work. You're not making hard work seem easy. Hard work's always going to seem like hard work, but you're making yourself capable of handling more hard work. So that's a very important factor when it comes to these type of training modalities and the goals that you wish to gain from it. A lot of your boxing techniques are going to be powered anaerobically, via glycogen localized to the muscles being worked. In that aerobic, which I'm practicing right now, much slower way to deliver the energy, but that's how you're going to recover from those repeated bouts of anaerobic work. So I think what you'll start to find is that your recovery period shortens. That break in between rounds yields you a lot more in terms of getting your heart rate down, getting ready to prepare for more hard work in the round upcoming. A huge component that you gain from this type of training also is your mental side of learning how to deal with working hard. And this is an intangible thing, so it's hard for a textbook or for an exercise physiologist to design and explain the benefits of you learning how to just deal with it. But I'm gonna tell you anecdotally, personally, and what I've seen from my fighters over many years is this kind of mental toughness that this type of training gets you. It's not lost. Don't even think about it in terms of physiological. It's a learned practice. A lot of times I'll wake up and the last thing I want to do is put this work in, but I do because I've done. I do because it's become part of my schedule. I do because I know I have in the past. So how much, how long, how often, first I gotta say that everybody's different. There's levels to everything. There was a time in my life when running 3 miles a pop got me what I was looking for. But now I'm barely breaking a sweat at 3 miles. I've leveled up. My bar personally starts at 5 miles, and then I'll push it big time miles sometimes. But it's not something I would recommend to somebody new to this. You gotta ease in, because while running is beautiful, and it is in many thoughts what your body is designed to do, without taking your time and without that proper technique, big potential to hurt yourself, your knees, your ankles. And it somewhat gives running a bad rap, because that does happen a lot of times to people, but I think it's because they make their goals too lofty initially. Start slow, start short, and build. And be consistent. Much like most things in your boxing training, consistency is the key. Everything is based on your consistency. I talked earlier about that blood volume. Think of it this way: it's a lot of work for your body to hold on to that blood and that red blood cell counts unnecessarily. To have that darn blood, it's just gonna get rid of it. I mean, literally, like in the course of like 8-12 hours, it goes, fuck this. This is too much work. So my fighters that are on the boxing team, they have a minimum amount of miles per week, 15 a week, not 15 a day, okay? So you can break this up however you want. 3 miles, 5 days a week, 5 miles, 3 days a week, or you do the math. But that's kind of be your entry-level place for that. I do put a cap on it, 30 miles a week. Why would I put a cap? Because you got to remember, you're a boxer that uses running to aid your sport. You're not a runner that uses boxing to aid your sport. So remember what your goals are. At a certain level, the intensity that you're going to put into trying to go over 30 miles a week, it's going to take you away from your boxing training in a way that's not going to be valuable to you. So that's why I put the cap. But like I said before, every now and then me and the team will hammer out 12, 15, 18 miles. I'm no stranger to marathons. Yeah. So between 15 and 30 miles a week, pretty big range. But people are pretty unique, and you got to find what works best for you. And you got to remember this, that what works for you at some acute point in your life probably won't be the same thing that works 10 years later, 15 years later. You got to be able to adjust, and sometimes you got to be able to check your ego also. So, wrapping it up, I think one of the most valuable things you can do is commit to long, steady state endurance training, regardless of your modality, meaning regardless of how you specifically go about it. I do it in my running shoes. You can do it on a bike. You can do it on a rower. You could do it playing, you know, some sort of endurance type exercise where you challenge yourself on anything. The jump rope, the stair climber, you name it. Blood volume, red blood cell count, mitochondria count, capillary beds, all increasing, all good things. All right, so anyways, thank you for coming on that run. Keep tuning in.
Like and subscribe.